Hi everyone, I'm DeMarco Morgan. Thanks a lot for staying with us. We are following a developing story out of Texas where a number of people were shot, including children, at the First Baptist Church of Sutherland Springs. Officials say 26 people died in that shooting and at least 20 others were injured. The victims' ages ranged from 5 years old to 72 years old. We know the 14-year-old daughter of the pastor of that church is among the dead. Authorities have identified 26-year-old Devin Patrick Kelley as the suspect. Federal law enforcement sources say the suspected gunman used an AR-15 type of rifle, and police say he died after a short pursuit. CBS News has learned Kelley was dishonorably discharged from the U.S. Air Force Base back in 2014. Meanwhile, Texas Governor Greg Abbott addressed the shooting at a press conference on Sunday.
As a state, we are dealing with the largest mass shooting in our state's history. There's so many families who've lost family members, fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters. The tragedy, of course, is worsened by the fact that it occurred in a church, a place of worship, where these people were innocently gunned down. We mourn their loss, but we support their family members. We appreciate the first responders and what they've done to help respond to this challenge. They are continuing in their efforts as they put all the pieces of a very complex puzzle together to try to provide their community all the answers they need and deserve.
CBS News contributor and former Las Vegas Police Lieutenant Randy Sutton joins us now from Las Vegas. Randy, always good to see you, and thanks a lot for helping us out.
Oh, of course, anytime. I wish it wasn't under these circumstances once again.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it keeps happening back to back. Just when you think it's over, you think you've seen the worst, something else happens. First question for you, what has to happen now in this investigation? Now that we know the suspect has been identified, we know the ages of the victims, even a 6-year-old who was shot 4 times. We know that this suspect was dressed in all black and had tactical, vest on. What's next now that we have that information but no motive?
Well, they're going to search through every one of his devices, his laptop, his personal computer, his cell phone, and try and determine what exactly was going through his mind that when he planned this. This was clearly a very planned operation, if you will. I mean, the fact that he had body armor, which is not that easy to get. He had tactical equipment on that generally is purchased through law enforcement sources. He was heavily armed, and the real hero of this story is that armed citizen who engaged him, literally putting his own life on the line with a heavily armed suspect, and without a doubt saved the lives of many people. This could have been, as demonstrably horrible and bad as it was, this could have been even worse, and the body count could be even higher.
Yeah, that goes back to the saying of many people who say it takes a good guy with a gun to stop a bad guy with a gun. I'm sure that argument will be used moving forward, as it has been in the past. Are soft targets like churches, we saw the situation here, the bike trail just last week with the terrorist attack, are they now the new norm?
Yes, they are the new norm. This is, even though we don't know what the ideological, or if there was any ideological moment here with this individual, the chances are that the investigators will determine if he knew anyone that was related to this house of worship. Was this a domestic that went completely insane, that he may have made in his perverted, weird mind, made some correlation to a relationship to this church. So that's what the investigators are going to be looking for, is to determine a motive, and they'll probably be successful doing that. But when you ask if the soft targets are the new norm, the answer is yes, and they have taken a page from the jihadist terrorist playbook, because they saw that they can see the success that that like the attack in New York City. So it doesn't really matter what the ideological influences are here. These are madmen or mad. I mean, almost all these killers are men. So these are madmen who get their jollies, if you will, on killing people. And where can they do it? The easiest, with people who can't fight back.
Wow, what a statement there, and you hit a good point. Even last week when we were talking about the terrorist here in New York, he wasn't specifically directed by ISIS. This is according to some of our sources. He wasn't specifically directed by ISIS, but he was inspired by online ISIS propaganda. And that's what we're seeing. A lot of these guys are just trying to, like you said, just take the easiest way out to, kill a number of people and with these soft targets. So I guess moving forward, Randy, if I'm a member of a church, if I am the pastor of a church, I'm asking myself tonight, how do I protect my members? How do you do that when anybody can pretty much walk into a church?
And that's the problem. I mean, a church, a school. I've gotten several messages from teachers today who are absolutely terrified because they can relate so well with the soft target issue here, and this is where terrorism, this is where they succeed. When an incident like this happens, everyone feels vulnerable, and you're looking at an isolated small church in a small community in Texas, and you think, well, if it can happen there,
it can happen
anywhere. And that makes everyone feel vulnerable. That's a really bad feeling.
So I guess the next question, and I know it's a question that's been asked a ton of times, but how do you spot someone? How do you spot someone who is going to do something like this? What are the signs? And because you look at the situation in Las Vegas, and according to friends and family and people who knew him, there were no signs that he was going to do something like this.
I know, and this is what drives us mad, because we look for some type of logical, even if it's a weird logic, we look for some type of logical reason. What is the why? What is the reason that someone did this? And we try to look at it from a point of view that is not disturbed, and we can't really fathom it because you're talking about the intricacies of the brain of people who don't make any logical sense whatsoever. That they have some weird deviation that allows them to the perversion of killing. And normal people can't fathom this. In fact, police officers, despite all of the madness that they see and the violence and the cruelty, even they look at an event like this and scratch their heads and go, why?
Randy, I could talk to you all night long, man. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us.
Anytime. And, I to tell you the truth, I hope I don't talk to you again for a while.
I agree. I totally agree with you on that. All right, Lieutenant Randy Sutton from Las Vegas. Thank you again.